Hello and welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me. If you're a new driver, thinking of joining iRacing, or just want to see what a rookie experience is really like, you've come to the right channel. Let's get started right away. This will be a race recap of my driving through this particular race, and I'm going from near the back of the field towards a podium position, and as we go along I will update you on what I was thinking, what I'm trying to focus on every single time. Starting in the back was pretty nice as a strategy. Already we saw two cars go off track here, and that allowed me to make up some position. One of the many things I like about this track is the fact that you can see the racing line on the track itself. It is somewhat differently colored and colored in where you're supposed to position the car. That really helps from a driving perspective. As a newbie, I don't drive with the racing line on. I find that not having the racing line allows me to look around the track and not just fixate on the racing line itself when it is overlaid. And I can actually see around and maybe even look at the scenery as we get on this straight, and it just straight and pedal to the metal, and we can look at the trees and the scenery. That's somewhat nice. With the racing line I probably would just focus on the racing line. Let's talk a little bit about the race and what's going on here. I've made up a couple positions already, starting from the back, trying to keep up with the cars in front. There are different lines through here. Most of the turns I can manage quite alright. Turn 1 is my biggest challenge. It is quite a long high-speed turn, and that's going to be the bane of my existence for this race. But here you can see I'm keeping up with the cars in front, and that is nice. And that is a feature of iRacing as well, that they pair you up with drivers of a similar skill set. So there's always some good action. Car to the right, we make our way through here. That's great. Most of the times the strategy should be to stay on track and not go off track, not accumulate any incidence points, and generally be a safe driver. Not position myself in a way where I get crashed into or where I crash into other cars. Just trying to drive my own race here, staying out of the way of others and keeping myself out of the way of them. Doesn't work out often or always. Sometimes like this, turn 1 is my challenging point, so I move over to the side, let the car go by, because I think I can get them in other spots. I'm just not comfortable enough going through turn 1 at high speeds here, even though I did practice a bit beforehand. But being in the race is a little bit different. Nerves do come out. We're going to stay behind this car for a little bit, making our way past some other cars as well, catching up with others, and just generally trying to follow them as best as possible, trying to figure out what lines they're taking. Can I improve? Can I take a faster line than what they are? I'm going off-road here, not off-road, off-track a bit, as I was focusing on the other car. That's another struggle you'll see coming up in a little bit. Focusing on other cars in front sometimes makes me lose track of where I'm supposed to be, and then other cars can go by. You'll notice my line through this turn is very tight. I try to straighten out the car as soon as possible. I believe I'm not using all the track here that I should be. Also the racing line, the discolored part of the track is further out to the left, so I think I'm slowing the car down way too much, and that allows me to turn the car straight faster and get on the throttle quicker, but I really should be using all the track possible in that particular turn at the bottom here. We've made up another spot and the car has spun out. Here on this part I like to send it through straight and then brake at the bottom, turning in while still braking, and back on the throttle as quickly as possible, using most of the track at the bottom there, coming into that left turn before the straight. This is a long straight, allowing the Mazda to reach its top speed, and at the end of it, turn 1, I'm usually not sure how to take these fast turns. That is one of the things I've noticed I'm consistently struggling with. Fast turns, quick turns, these are the ones I need to practice more. These are the ones where I'm struggling with, just with car control and confidence and knowing how to really manipulate the throttle and brakes at the same time, or of course alternating to get through there quite quickly. The car in front of us is starting to blink, but they're still around. They're going to stick around. Here again, this is what I mean. I'm going through this, not using the whole track, and I think I should be able to use more of the track here in this medium speed turn at the bottom there to get out of it quicker. So the entry is somewhat alright, perhaps, but could be much faster. You'll notice that another car has joined us, and they are able to stick with me and the car in front of me consistently, which means I need to focus on my driving, to focus on getting my lines right, not going off track and not going too wide here. Went too wide there, but now I'm taking this corner far too narrow, turning the car straight too quickly, which means I gave up far too much speed coming out of this corner, and that's going to cost me. But for some reason the car in front did make a mistake. I'm trying to go around, I'm trying to stay on track, I'm trying not to crash into them, I'm focusing on them too much, which means I'm going offline, and the car from behind just goes past us, at least goes past me. But having two cars battling it out in front of each other, in front of you, in front of me, is actually not bad, because you'll see here they're going to take each other out slightly. However, I'm having too much speed going through here and I need to slam on the brakes trying to avoid hitting them, which I managed to do, but that also means I could not overtake both of them. That was an opportunity that I've missed out on, but again, it's going to come back most likely because they are still battling it out. So I can just stick with them, trying to figure out how they're making it through turn 1, my nemesis turn, so quickly, and hopefully I can stay with them and eventually also overtake them. The black car is going to have a little bit of trouble going out of this turn, so they're going to spin, allowing some of us to get closer and overtake them, perhaps in the near future as well. And this again goes back to what I said earlier. It is interesting, and it is making for an interesting race because iRacing pairs you up with drivers who are of a similar skill level. I struggled with the entry, and midpoint of this turn 1, the car in front of us has struggled with the exit of turn 1. Some of them, I think the purple car, both of them might be struggling from through the last turn. They also struggled through here, so they've gotten out of the way for us by themselves. So everyone has different issues as they have to navigate this racetrack or any racetrack. And iRacing pairs you up with drivers who are of similar skill level, which means it always makes for interesting racing. I've gone too wide here again, and again I'm going far too narrow, turning the car straight far too quickly. This does not seem optimal. The track looks like it is colored in where you are supposed to be, and I'm far off on that one on this particular turn. Going down the hill, I will again send it through straight to gain a little bit more space, make up some space between me and the car in front. There you go, going straight. The car is going left and right through it. I'm just going to go straight, brake, turn while still on the brakes, and that allows me to make up some space here. I think the car in front of us will have picked that up in its mirrors at some point, because I noticed that they're going to do the same thing once I get a little bit closer to them, once the race progresses. So I think they saw me do that, and then they're going to adopt that same style of going through that particular turn, because at least I was getting closer to them. I'm sure people who know how to drive properly take a different line as well completely, because they know how to take the exit differently. Here again, my exit out of turn 1, not optimal, but better than the car in front of me. They struggle with the exit, they do well on the entry. Well, we're still together here, trying to race for a position. We'll have to rely on mistakes and trying to overtake them at different parts of the racetrack. Overall, this is a very tame, calm race, I suppose. If you're new to iRacing or considering joining iRacing, a lot of the YouTube videos you see is, of course, filled with spectacular crashes and everyone going crazy and all over the track. Yes, that happens in my very short experience of a few weeks or months on the platform, but overall everyone, I think, is trying to do the best they can. You just have to be aware that there's still a lot to learn about iRacing, about driving in this particular sim. Also depends on what equipment you have. You have to learn how to use that, how to configure it, how to best configure it for your own driving style to learn and adapt as well. And I'm still working on that every single race. Take a look at the car in front of us. Are they going to go through here straight, or are they going to still turn left and right? Are they picking up my driving style yet? No, not yet. Almost. Looks like it. They're trying it out. We'll just stay behind this car, waiting for an opportunity to capitalize on their mistakes if they're going through a turn a little bit too fast or too slowly. Hopefully we can go through that turn without making a mistake. Turn 1 coming up again, trying my best to stay with this car in front of us, trying to figure out where they're braking, where they're coasting. This was, again, not optimal either, but we're staying with them in front, and that will make for an interesting battle in the near future. Not much will happen for the next 2 minutes in this race. I'll just be staying behind this car in front of us, trying to catch up with them. Doesn't quite work. We keep the distance the same. So instead of watching 2 minutes of just driving around, we're going to skip ahead to the next little bit of action. And through the magic of editing, here we are. A couple of minutes ahead in time, and the car is still in front of us. That was there before. They're going to go through this turn at the bottom here in a fast way. That is too fast for them, but since we're having a pretty fast line here ourselves, we're able to catch up. They go off track. We're capitalizing on this. As they come back, I try to make sure I go as far as I possibly can on the left without trying to get an off track, and I squeeze by successfully. This fast long straight allows us to gain some speed, make up some distance, but since I struggle with turn 1, they're going to catch up. I'm going to be so frightened here that I will not go through very quickly, and the car behind us will just go past us. and I'm trying to stay on track, make sure that I've got a good exit so I can stay with the car, and hopefully capitalize on some of their mistakes again in the future, because their exit out of this turn is not optimal. I'm able to stick with them. We have 2 laps to go, and we're going to stay with the car in front of us. We're going to put some pressure on, trying to make sure the lines here are optimal. Going up the hill, trying to get back onto the right hand side to go through the turn on the left a little bit faster than before. Trying to coast rather than brake, but I still need to brake at some point here, maybe a little bit later, trying to stay with them in front of us. They go off track. I don't at this point. I've gone off track before. I don't want to get another incident point. Maybe I should have. That would have allowed me to stay with them. But, well, we'll see. I'm going through here without braking, trying to go through here without braking, trying to make sure this part where they've now made a mistake, I'm going to go up the hill. Now, should I have stuck with it? Would they have seen me? Should I have risked the points, the incident points, the bump to the door? Or did I do the right thing and just pulling back a little bit, allowing them to make it through the turn first? What would you have done? Let me know. I'm not really sure I made the right decision here, but perhaps it did avoid an incident. It did avoid a crash where we both would have been taken out. So maybe it was the right thing to do. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments what you would have done in this particular case here as a good driver. Again, they're going to go off track through this turn, struggling with it. Maybe the pressure I was putting on is now showing a little bit of signs. And again, I'm able to go through. We're having a little bit more speed as we go through here. The gap now is a little bit bigger than the previous lap, so maybe I have a chance of making it through the entry and middle part of turn 1 without the car behind us catching up and overtaking us again. But alas, nope, no such luck. I'm still too slow through here. Then the car shows up. I'm not sure where to go, so I slow down even further and the car can go by. Trying to position myself perfectly on the exit here, or as perfectly as I can, to stay with the car and maybe try another few attempts through some of the other turns as well, because I saw that I could get closer to them and that there are several turns where I might be able to make a pass here. Again, fairly close, but not enough room to go by, so I ease off the throttle and bide my time to take another opportunity. That opportunity might come again at the bottom of the hill. This time I'm going far too wide, picking up that incident point, allowing the car in front of us to get away from us. But my hopes are not dashed. I think I can make it through these couple of turns and coming up fairly quickly so I can stay with the car in front of us, put more pressure on them. There, we've already made up a little bit of space. Trying to straighten out the car, get on the throttle, get closer. But of course now also I'm relying on the car in front of us making some mistakes so that we can get closer. They've made mistakes in that last turn consistently, so hopefully they're going to make another mistake here. But this being the last lap, maybe they're not going to make that mistake. They're going to chill a little bit as well, not giving it 100%, but only maybe 90% to make sure I stay behind them. Ultimately, they're not going to make a mistake, and that's going to be the end of the race. They're going to get that podium position. I believe we had P3. I'm going to get P4. So on that note, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this gave you a little bit of an insight into what it's like to be a new rookie driver. If you like this, please hit the like and subscribe button and follow along. Thanks for watching. See you next time.